Welcome to round 7 and 8 of the 2018 Cox Motor Parts Civic Cup. You find us at a very sunny and bright Snetterton in a championship that is getting closer and closer by the weekend. So far, Rob Baker leads by 12 points, but there's been 6 different race winners from the first 6 races. So is anyone going to pick up win number 2 this weekend, or will we make it 8 from 8? It's time to find out. Here's Richard John Neal with the grid for race 1.
Thank you, Scott. Rob Baker on pole, Daniel Hobson alongside David Vincent, and Daniel Reason next from Bruce Winfield and David Bucke. Lewis Rose and Mark Grice on row 4, Ben Sharp and James Griffith, followed by Martin DL and Jason Ballantyne. Aaron Sharp and Phil Wright next up from Ollie Barsby and Andy Hart. Paul McHugh, Craig Carter and Dave Poyser complete the grid. Round 7 of the championship here at Snetterton on the 300 circuit. That's the full twist and turns, 3 miles the circuit. Lights are on. Pretty long wait. The officials teasing the drivers on the grid here today in Norfolk, and a British touring car. Look to this field, absolutely superb start, and it's Daniel Hobson, I think, that's got the run out into riches for the first time. It is. And Daniel Reason's done well too, the man who took pole position at Silverstone for the first round of the year. Somebody's gone off. Now, anytime you're going to hit the grass, because of the very long run of hot weather we've had, we're going to kick up a load of dust. And you can see the grass very parched here. Jason Ballantyne chasing Martin DL. Ballantyne second in the championship. And this is a superb onboard shot on the infield section. A little bit of a raise, then downhill coming into Agostini. It doesn't look like a hairpin from here, but it is. I guess it doesn't look like a hairpin because you can't quite see the exit, and the camera's generally, of course, planted on the exit so we can catch them going down the straight. We've got a little bit of a clatter as they exit that corner. On board with Mark Grice coming into Oggie's corner, short straight before they join the back straight here. This is where we go back onto the old part of the circuit here at Snetterton. As you can see, a little bit of cloud cover, hopefully keeping things slightly cooler. There is Martin DL, busy chasing Jason Ballantyne. And it's a pretty good start, really, by all concerned, as they head down the Bentley straight for the first time. And it's Daniel Hobson out front, Daniel Reason in second place, and then in third place the pole position man Rob Baker, who is obviously going to be keen to try and extend his championship lead. He has 115 points. He's 12 points clear of Jason Ballantyne. I suppose importantly, he's ahead of Ballantyne at the moment in the race, and he'll just be looking to carry on with that. But here they come out of the Murray's corner, named after Murray Walker, of course, and then on to Senna Straight to complete the first lap. I put the sound of those cars from my pit wall camera. They sound absolutely superb, and they look great as well. Ticking off that first lap, and we are well underway. Race leaders up in towards riches once again. There's David Bucke in the 51. David's best result so far, 4th place at Alt Park race number 1. You probably remember that on our last programme. Rob Baker coming under pressure at the moment from Mark Grice in the 34 car. Mark 4th in the championship, just 3 points adrift of Daniel Reason, but Daniel is up front at the moment, and I think about to be passed by Rob Baker, who's looking down the inside line. This is always a potential passing place. I've got to take my hat off to Reason there. He looked in his mirror, or over his shoulder, probably more likely in his mirror, and he saw the number 6 car, Rob Baker, coming through on the inside line, and you can see that was a great shot of him coming down into Agostini. He was ready for that, and he gave him room, so that was fair, clean racing from the pair of them. And it means that Rob Baker, the pole position man, his 2nd pole position of the year, goes up into 2nd place. Daniel Reason down to 3rd. Reason started 4, so at the moment it's a reason to be cheerful, because he's got 1 place made up on his starting position. Bentley straight for the 2nd time into the Brundle Nelson complex. The race leader is already there. Daniel Hobson, who made that great start from the outside of the front row. Reason still followed by Grice. And then it's Bruce Winfield, who started 5th and maintains 5th position at the moment. Let's see what Mark Grice can do now. Reason coming under a little bit of pressure immediately in front of us. Reason, remember, won the opening race of the year in his FN2. Had a brace of podia last time out at Alton Park. Alton, of course, as many twists and turns as Snetterton 300. Snetterton slightly flatter, not the gradient changes here, but a superb technical circuit nonetheless, and a very well maintained facility as well. One of Jonathan Palmer's MSV circuits, as indeed is Cadwell Park. And here's a great shot now with Bruce Winfield having a look at Mark Grice. He's trying to tee up the inside line. Is he going to be able to do it as they go into the hairpin? No, he can't. Just goes back to the outside line and tab, maybe to carry a bit more momentum on the way out. But here's Martin DL involved in his battle, then Aaron Sharp in 35. Aaron, race winner, of course, of race 2 at Alton Park. 81 car there was Lewis Rose, the race leader, starting to have a little bit of a gap. So Rob Baker, the championship leader, will want to close him down. He'll want to get the win, and he's got time to do it, because we're not even at half distance yet in this race, and it's a long lap. It's a good lap for the spectators, because they do get the chance. If you're watching on the infield section, you can see so much of it. You can see the cars on the main straight, and probably about a third, or maybe getting on towards half a lap. Ben Sharp in 24 chasing Martin DL. DL holding sway at the present time, and Sharp beginning to get a little bit closer. Onto the back straight they go again. Phil Wright is the chaser there in blue and yellow. Quite a few blue and yellow machines out there in different shades, as we watch them coming down once again into the Brundle and Nelson complex. 27 machine is James Griffith. Second place on Anglesey for James. Not one of the meetings we covered, unfortunately, but James was 4th at Silverstone in race 2 of the opening event of the year. Grice and Reason still having a very good battle of this at the moment. And Grice just trying to work out where there might be a chink in the armour of the man in front. And he loses a bit of ground as they come out of Murray's and onto the centre straights. He's going to have to build up that momentum all over again. You can see the front runners beginning to develop a little bit of a gap over the rest of the field. Reason and Grice go through. Bruce Winfield is next up. And then down towards us at Riches, the group led by Jason Ballantyne, who's dropped back from 4th on the grid. Ben Sharp looking around the outside of Martin DL, or is it DL looking on the inside line of Ben Sharp? We get a little bit of a dust screen and can't quite see through that. DL inside, Sharp's going to go for the outside line here as they go around the Wilson hairpin, and now down into the left-hander at Palmer. Sharp might go for the cutback if he can get it, but at the moment Martin DL hanging on to that. DL looking for a first podium of the year, came close to it at Alton Park with 4th in race 2. And this superb shot coming down into Agostini, with Ballantyne still heading this group. DL is next up, then Ben Sharp. Lewis Rose next up. And you can see everybody close. Some quality drivers spread around the top 10 of this. Remember, we've got the reverse grid race coming up a little bit later on. There is Aaron Sharp, still up ahead of James Griffith. David Buki in the mix as well. And none of these guys look at the moment in a threatening position, but several passing opportunities here at Snetterton. You'd be surprised where the drivers can pull off those manoeuvres. All the cars, by virtue of the very good championship regulations, exceedingly evenly matched. Of course, that makes overtaking difficult. It's going to be down to setup, it's down to driver skill as much as anything else. Again, a super shot down the back straight, and Griffith having a look on the inside line there of Aaron Sharp. What can he do as they go through bomb hole? He's not that far behind. He'll look in his mirrors and just see whether he has to maybe start thinking about being defensive, and I think the answer to that at the moment is no, he doesn't. David Buki not quite close enough, although having said that, Griffith then loses just a little bit of momentum as we focus again on Jason Ballantyne in the 22. Martin DL in the number 4 going across the line once again as well. Daniel Hobson though still the race leader. Hobson looking to be the first man to set up a double this year. Scott referred to that in his introduction. 6 races, 6 different winners so far in this championship. Aided slightly, of course, by the reverse grids that we have in race 2, but that will take nothing away from the competitive nature of this championship. So we are maybe looking at Daniel Hobson taking that first win of the year, but at the moment, some superb racing going on here with the likes of Jason Ballantyne, Ben Sharp, Lewis Rose, James Griffith, Aaron Sharp, David Buki, all in the mix and having a superb race. Here you can see the gradient, very slightly downhill coming out of Palmer into Agostini. So Ballantyne still there at the moment. Martin DL busy chasing him, heading up in towards Hamilton corner now, where the lead car of the group turns, and then they'll head towards the back straight through Williams and Oggies, and then onto the Bentley straight once again. The fastest lap of the race has been set by Rob Baker, running in second place, lap 3, 2 minutes 13.107, averaging 80.29 miles per hour, and a shade away from Rob's qualifying time. So Rob Baker, as you can see, not that far away from the race leader. This is the battle for the lead. Daniel Hobson still out front. Baker with that perhaps extra pace, worrying the race leader at the moment. Look at, and driving standards wise, I'm going to point something out here. When they come through Coram next time, you can see the floppy markers sticking up out of the ground, and none of those have gone yet, and we're in towards the closing stages of the race, and that says a great deal about driving standards here. MSV, of course, have the little cameras on the curbs for track limits, but even so, you're allowed one track limit. I'm surprised we haven't seen more of those go, but we're seeing some precision driving at the moment from these boys in this race. Hobson and Baker 1 and 2. Baker with fastest lap so far. So it's Daniel Hobson then, car number 25, still the race leader. He is 5th in the championship. This is going to afford him another 25 points. It will be 23 at the moment for the second place man Rob Baker, 22 for second place, an additional point for fastest lap. Out of Palmer, down into Agostini they go again. Daniel Reason still running in third place in the 77 car, having started 4th, so a little bit of progress for him. We're going to see James Griffith starting on at the moment on pole position for race 2, holding 10th place. And the great thing about that is, of course, the drivers will get the pit signals. They know the top 10 are going to be reversed in race 2, and that means that 10th place is almost as an important battle as the race lead. Griffith, with Aaron Sharp behind him at the moment, is of course going to be mindful of that. He's going to want that pole position for race 2. So it just gives a little bit of added incentive, impetus onto those drivers competing hard, because if you finish 11th place, you start 11th in race 2, but 10th you get to start pole and the chance of a win, which we've seen a couple of times throughout the history, or more than a couple of times, the history of the Cox Motor Parts Civic Cup. Daniel Hobson still out front, Rob Baker in second. Baker knows that this is going to be a good score. He's outscoring the following 3 drivers in the championship table at the moment, so that's the significance of this second place drive for Rob Baker. He won race 1 on Anglesey, so we haven't seen him win a race yet, but I'm sure that's going to come before the end of the year. A quick reminder that we go to Castle Combe in August, Brands Hatch on the 9th of September, and we wind up with the double header, as all of the rounds are, at Donington Park in October. As across the line again onto the last lap goes Daniel Hobson from Rob Baker, Daniel Reason into Riches, and it looks like Rob Baker is going to have to rely on some sort of mechanical failure or mistake from Daniel Hobson to get past by my money. He's trying hard. He looked slightly quicker, slightly more racy going through Riches. A bit of a sideways moment there, and on board with Mark Grice. We're looking at the back end of Daniel Reason's car. This is for a podium position. 4th to 5th, only 2 points in the awards, as it were, for it. 5th place, 16 points. 4th place is 18. And Grice having a very good look here. He's on the outside line. It is doable. I have seen passes on the outside at Agostini, but there's not much room there. But Grice is having a go round the outside line, and he's side by side with Daniel Reason, who knew that the inside there just carried on a little bit. It was the shorter way round. He had the grip. Grice was always going to struggle round the outside, but he gave it a very good go. That was a superb piece of racing between those two, and it's Daniel Reason that holds on to 3rd position, and it looks like he's going to make the podium here. Although, having said that, Mark Grice is not giving up the ghost. He's still all over the back of him, and he'll feel that he has a little bit more speed than Reason, and that speed might come into play as they go down the back straight here for the last time. Let's see whether the 34 car can pick up maybe a bit of a tow and have a look down the inside line as they go into Brundle. The race leaders are there already. Daniel Hobson is still the race leader from Rob Baker. He's held on well. It was the start, really, you have to say, that propelled him through. Maybe not such a great start for Rob Baker, and Scott will no doubt talk to him about that on the podium. But it's Hobson heading into Coram for the last time, who has eked out a little bit of a gap. It's stretching out to almost a second, but there are the floppy markers I was talking about on the inside. They're still intact. Great driving from everyone in the Cox Motor Parts Civic Cup, and it's Daniel Hobson who's going to take the win. He's on the centre straight. He'll be looking for the checkered flag. That will be there. It's going to be Daniel Hobson, the first man to make it a double in the 2018 campaign. Baker 2nd, Reason 3rd, Grice. Bruce Whitfield is across the line in 5th place. Hobson from Baker, Reason, Grice and Winfield. David Vincent in 6th from Jason Ballantyne and Ben Sharp. Lewis Rose 9th and James Griffith in 10th. Rob Baker's fastest lap nets him an extra point. The other finishers, Aaron Sharp, David Buki, Phil Wright, Andy Hart, Paul McHugh, David Poyser, Craig Carter and Oliver Barsby.
So Dan, that makes you the first double race winner of the season. How did that feel?
Brilliant, yeah. A lot of pressure from Rob there. I thought at one moment he closed right in me, I thought I'm going to lose it, but I managed to just sort of chill myself out a bit and take different tactics and managed to gap him again, which, oh yeah, absolutely brilliant. With such a league of cars that are out there and drivers, it's, yeah, absolutely fantastic.
So now you've got to handle the reverse grid race. How much of a challenge does that provide when you have to kind of work your way through the order?
It's a challenge, but everyone likes a challenge, so yeah, we'll struggle, I think, but we'll go as far as we can go. After that, I'm not bothered what happens.
Good stuff. We'll enjoy the win. We'll see you later on. Well done.
Thank you. Cheers.
Rob, 2nd place for you. You maintained your championship lead, but you had to press Daniel all the way from start to finish for that one.
Yeah, it was an entertaining race again. Same as always, really. Us three have had good battles all year, and it carried on in that one.
Were there any points where you thought, right, I might have a chance to get through here? Was it always tough to find an avenue?
When I got past Dan, I caught Danny up within 2 laps and was on his bumper for a few, and then my tyres went away and he seemed to just have that edge, especially in the places where you could overtake. He had that edge just to get enough of a gap that I couldn't do anything.
So you'll be just ahead of him in the reverse grid now, so you've got to try and get a better start and get ahead of him to stop him making his way through.
Not been the best at starts all year, so I'll try and lose 1 place instead of 2 this time. That's the best game, really.
So Dan, 3rd place for you. You had a lot of pressure from behind, having to work your way through with Mark behind you. It was a pretty tough race.
Yeah, it was a really difficult race, probably one of the hardest. Constant pressure from Rob at the start. He's nipped through, and then Mark straight away was on me pretty much the whole race. So I fought for that position, believe me.
So now you start ahead of both of them for race 2 on the reverse grid. So what do you reckon you can do to hold them off?
Get through as quick as possible. Put as many cars between me and them as I can. That's what it's about, this championship, getting the results across both races. So I'm hoping for another good result.
Stuff. Well, we'll see you in race 2. Well done.
Thank you.